I don't back from no one, honestly.
If Spence isn't available, would you do the Crawford fight?
100%.
Over here, we're moving
100%. You know, like Crawford's the man. And man, I'd love to take on a challenge on that.
Tim too recently declared boldly that he would like to face Terence Crawford, following his impending matchup with Sebastian Fonder. See what Crawford had to say about his next possible fight. Crawford also recently discussed the prospect of facing two.
Next move, but like I said, we got a few guys on the roster for Terence Crawford next fight, and Tim Tszyu, Keith Thurman is one of them.
But there's a catch. It's thought that Crawford is just interested in fighting for money and is no longer interested in his legacy. Showbiz the adult revealed Bud in a recent video. Have a look.
An all-time great fighter saying he only fights for money now?
So is it about just the money?
Definitely.
Okay.
What are the plans for Terence Crawford's upcoming fight? Will we be able to witness him compete this year? Let's find out in this video. One of the best boxers of the modern era is Terence Crawford. The former undisputed welterweight champion has amassed millions of fans over the past few years, and his victory over Errol Spence last year cemented his status as one of boxing's faces. With this fame and recognition, Crawford should have no trouble finding his next opponent. Rival in the welterweight division, Jaron Bootsandis, has called him out, and other fighters have expressed interest in challenging him. However, at 36 years old, Bud has no fight scheduled for 2024, and his time as a boxing superstar is running out. In the midst of this, Tim Tszyu, who is scheduled to fight Sebastian Fonder at the end of this month, has thrown down the gauntlet and expressed a strong interest in facing Terence Crawford. In case you missed it, Tszyu will fight the American on March 31st while defending his WBO super welterweight title in Las Vegas. The Australian, who had originally planned to make a comeback against Keith Thurman, withdrew due to a biceps injury. As a result, the Soul Taker will now take on the towering Inferno, who stands 7 inches taller than the current WBO super welterweight champion. Despite the fact that the boxing world is still waiting to find out the result of Tszyu versus Fonder, they are already speculating about Tim's next fight. In October of last year, after winning by unanimous decision over Brian Mendoza, Tim Tszyu had stated that if he were to face Canelo Alvarez, it would be a matter of honor and privilege. On the other hand, before Tszyu versus Sebastian Fonder, speaking to Fox Sports, Terence Crawford's manager Glenn Jennings stated that Crawford versus Tszyu might be the highest-grossing fight in Australian boxing history, perhaps earning $38 million. As a result, Crawford's name has now been associated with the Soul Taker. You mentioned fighting hype, and I'm prepared for everyone. I have no fear of anyone, and I'll take on any task that comes my way.
I don't back from no one, honestly.
If Spence isn't available, would you do the Crawford fight?
100%.
Over here, we're moving
100%. You know, like Crawford's the man. And man, I'd love to take on a challenge on that.
When asked if he would like to fight Errol Spence Jr., Terence Crawford, an Australian boxer, replied, "Yeah, I'll take them all, bro. I don't back from no one." Tszyu was then asked how he felt about taking on Jaron, the IBF interim welterweight champion. He replied, "Who boots 100% everyone, bro? Honestly, I don't want to be this fighter that picks and chooses, man. I'll fight everyone." Whereas Tim too is open to fighting anyone. Tim's manager is more keen on setting up Crawford versus Tim. As a result, Jennings stated that the fight between Bud and the Soul Taker would be fantastic for Australian boxing, as well as for the sport globally.
We believe that Tim Tszyu and Terence Crawford and his people believe Tim Tszyu is the best 154 in the world. There's credit and stock behind that. That's not talk and making.
His desire to battle Crawford is not naturally bold. Rather, he is born with respect. Crawford held him in the highest regard and acknowledged him as a division standard. This isn't just hyperbole from a boxer trying to get attention. Tszyu sincerely wants to leave his mark, and he takes on strong opponents. In a time when the business of boxing frequently eclipses the sport itself, Tszyu's willingness to get into the ring with Crawford, a fighter many see as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters, speaks volumes about his confidence and attitude toward the sport. Tszyu's simple task is a welcome change of pace. Crawford, however, who is well known for his ability and strategic acumen, has remained silent on the subject. Fans and commentators alike are excited to see Crawford's response to Tszyu's challenge, because he hasn't competed since his July 2023 fight with Errol Spence. Crawford's next action is crucial. The boxing community has embraced Tszyu's call-out, viewing it as a possible battle that would not only provide an exciting contest, but also an opportunity to allay any worries about his intentions to defend his position at the top of the welterweight hierarchy. Aiming to revive the best versus best ethos that many feel has been watered down recently, Tszyu and Crawford's potential matchup is intriguing because it promises a battle of wills and ambitions. Tszyu's challenge is more than just a suggestion for a bout. It's a declaration of his views on boxing. Unwilling to pursue a career in secure waters, he seeks out the turbulent seas where real legends are created in the dance of legacies, where every move is carefully considered. Tszyu's audacious move has created the conditions for a perhaps epic Crawford's action, whether it be a contract signature or a prolonged period of silence. We'll decide the course of this drama as it develops.
Next move, but like I said, we got a few guys on the roster for Terence Crawford next fight, and Tszyu, Keith Thurman is one of them.
Presently, in his most recent interview, Crawford provided some insight into his plans for this year. But was intriguingly candid about the possibilities, despite his reluctance to divulge too much too soon. Crawford acknowledged the excitement surrounding a potential matchup with Tim Tszyu, who faces a difficult battle against Fonder. Crawford is obviously keeping a close eye on the welterweight scene and is prepared to take on big challenges based on his mention of Tszyu as a possible opponent. Crawford's competitive spirit and desire to compete against the best boxers to stay at the pinnacle of the sport are demonstrated by his willingness to consider the winner of the Fondora vs. Tszyu fight as his next opponent. It is this approach that has made Crawford a respected figure in the sport, one who is not afraid to test himself against the best in order to further cement his legacy. Fans and commentators are excited about Crawford's possible return and opponents for 2024 since it indicates a year full of high-stakes fights and the chance for Crawford to further establish himself as one of the finest fighters of his generation, as the boxing community awaiting official news with great expectation. Crawford's career could see yet another historic year that highlights his unwavering dedication to competing at the greatest level and excellence. The boxing community has been praising Tim Tszyu a lot for his desire to face challenging opponents. Recently, Showbiz the Adult examined the Australian boxer's skill and tactical decisions, especially in light of the welterweight division's current state and the impending showdown with Terence Crawford. Showbiz praised Tszyu's audacity in confronting Crawford, pointing out that Tszyu's readiness to take on elite opposition is a welcome change in a time when many fighters are accused of dodging big challenges. Shiz highlighted Tszyu's readiness to face the greatest, especially Crawford, whom he holds in the highest regard. Showbiz claims that Tszyu's strategy is evocative of the heyday of boxing, when the greatest fought the best without holding back. This mentality not only wins over supporters and pundits alike, but also distinguishes Tszyu as a competitor eager to prove his mettle against the best in the division through his commentary. Shiz the grown-up portrayed Tszyu as a fighter from the past who isn't afraid of obstacles or gets caught up in the politics that are frequently connected with contemporary boxing. Tszyu's resolve and confidence are shown in his decision to fight Crawford in spite of the risks involved. Showbiz praised his candor, pointing out that his ambition to face elite athletes like Crawford and even Errol Spence Jr. indicates a warrior who prioritizes legacy over security.
Somebody said that his promoter or his manager said that, I guess, they're willing to vacate the WBO title so Tszyu can take on Errol the Truth.
Moreover, Showbiz addressed the rumor that Tszyu might have avoided Crawford, which he categorically refuted by stating that he was eager to face Crawford. Tszyu demonstrated his warrior mindset and successfully silenced his detractors. Shiz applauded this mentality and said that fighters who are eager to take on anyone at any time to establish their worth are exactly what the sport needs. The consequences of a possible Tszyu versus Crawford fight for the boxing scene were also discussed by Showbiz. Fans would look forward to this exciting fight, which would also represent a turning point in both fighters' careers. What are your thoughts on Tim Tszyu versus Terence Crawford? For Tszyu, it's a chance to go to the top levels of the sport, while for Crawford, it's an opportunity to thwart a budding star and further establish his legacy. That's all for now. Don't forget to like. Would you be interested in seeing this fight? Who would win? Let us know in the comments, as well as join the channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Turn on the bell to receive the most recent notifications so that you never miss out on videos like this.